turned on just yet. Ken says pretty good. Thank you for that. Appreciate that feedback. I turn off my Skype here so we're not interrupted. I'm going to turn off my cell phone so that we're not interrupted. All right, got that accomplished. Alex, good morning. Level 2 trading, just bought a couple of ES micros at 46.60. Level 2 trading, 5-point stops, looking for 1-to-1 first scale out. Ezra, hi, how are you? Thanks for coming. Appreciate y'all being here. We already have Ken and Alex from the Zoom side chiming in. You know, it's the day before Thanksgiving. Hopefully everybody's on their way to the in-laws' house or grandma and grandpa's house instead of here, but I'm glad you're here. Maybe you are there already and you need a diversion already. Ish, good morning. Rad Captures, good morning. Michael F is back. Good morning. Thanks for coming, Michael. Isam, good morning. James, M.A. M.A. No, it's M.A. Yeah, it's official looking. Jamie, thanks for being here. Terrence, 5x5 in a thankful Seattle. Hallelujah. Appreciate you being here. Isam, good morning. Good to see you again. Yours is from San Antonio, Texas. It's way by the border, right? I have son number 2 going to University of Arizona, heading to Tucson pretty soon. So he's going to be in the desert also. Williams, good morning. William, good morning. But I think San Antonio is like the hill country, I think they called it. That's how President Johnson got his start, getting those extra votes from the hill country. Robert Caro wrote a great book about, actually it's a series of books about the life and times of Lyndon B. Johnson. And there's one of them is called Master of the Senate. And if every person should read the book and understand how the Senate works and why it's so ingenious. It's my tip of the day right there. William, good morning. I'm Sarasota. All right, close, Southerner. Morph, how you doing? Juan Gabriel. Rick, happy Thanksgiving to you too. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Tova, good morning. All right, we have a feisty crowd here, man. Love it. Thank you for the thumbs up already on YouTube. I haven't said anything yet, which is fine. We're going to start. we're going to start here at Green Place. As Ezra says, Green's Place. Yeah, I know. My son's going to be in the desert. His choice, not my choice. All right, we had a whole slew of data dumps this morning, economic releases. Stock indices are getting a little bit, or have been under heat all morning, as you can see on the quote board on the right-hand side. Marcos, hello. Thank you for the greeting. Thanks for being here. Alex is long, MES, December 2021 contract, 46.63 trailing stop, executed at 46.64. Okay, hang tight. We're going to pop over the charts in a second here. Rick, good morning. It is exactly 10 o'clock East Coast time. Welcome. My name is Jim Cagnina. For those of you who might not know me or new today, thank you for coming. I'm Senior Education and Training Specialist for the NinjaTrader platform. Today, as we do every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we do an hour of trade setups in the E-mini S&P 500 market. I appreciate any comments, feedback, anything you want to put in that chat box as we go forward. That give or take is really kind of important. It creates kind of an atmosphere of fun, also, but also we're comrades. We're brothers in arms right now. We're gonna explore what's going on here in the markets. I do want to remind everybody trading futures options on futures involves substantial risk of loss, not suitable for all traders and investors. Oftentimes in futures trading, you have a high combination of leverage and volatility, although that could be an equation for opportunity, also an equation for risk. So be careful. Only fund your futures trading account with risk capital. Understand everybody's unique and different in this world. So be careful. Easy on the day trade margins. My personal definition, money I could afford to lose, doesn't change my lifestyle, doesn't overly stress me out. Those are my three things. When I'm under stress, I make bad decisions and do bad things. So I want to be in a good place, happy place. Larry, good morning. Thanks for being here. Simon, good morning. And level 2 trading has been added since we started, man. He's ready to go. He or she, I don't know if you're a he or she. So I apologize in advance. Have a good first scale completed. My second out at 75, and then I'll be done for the day. Yeah, you got to prep for holidays. Good, look at that. We're coming back, man. We're what a day. This is Thanksgiving though too, right? Thanksgiving week, holiday weekends always are kind of weird, right? Yesterday we had a ton of volume for some reason. Well, we know why, but today we have 427,000 ES. Not bad. Not bad. I don't think we're tracking volume like we did yesterday, but it's a lot. Micro NASDAQ is actually leading the pack, 436,000. Wow. We're going to take a look at this. And I have a micro ES right here. And I'm kind of, it's a sideways. I'm going to show you my bias really quickly before we kind of look for a place to enter orders here. ES. We're in this range right here. So I'm kind of in sideways. My bias is sideways right now. I mean, I'm kind of leaning toward the bullish side. You see this huge rally right here. The Fed's doing everything in their power to, try to make things right. The supply chain problem is going to work itself out. Although that weird thing with the truckers yesterday was bizarre. But I'm kind of optimistic on the bullish side here. But we're right in the middle of this parallel channel that I drew, right? And I kissed the lowest candle after the trend broke. The bottom here is touching the lowest body part of a candle, and then the highest does the same thing. And just kind of right in there. That's what we're looking at. This, we have support, we have resistance. Let's see if we could break out either way. My target 47.58. That's long term. Real quick, micro NASI. Making a little bit of a rally today, but we have a turnaround, right? We have a couple of red candles in a row, and this is the third session in the week, right? We started Sunday night to Monday, Monday night to Tuesday, Tuesday night to today, and so we'll see if we end up that way or if we end up in green. Again, I'm bullish. I mean, this is a bullish trend, so I'm looking positive there. YM is a little bit different, man. We had a lot more heat for a lot longer in the YM. And, we bumped up against my rectangle here, which was my area support. And it corresponded with the previous area resistance, right? There was a high here on the 16th, a high here on September 3rd. And a lot of times these areas of resistance later on in life turn into areas of support. And I think that's what's happening here. So I think we have some support here finally in the YM. We'll see. We might drive down a little bit lower, but so far so good since the open. We've kind of rallied positive. Let's just keep going while we're on the daily charts. Here's the gold. Gold is, wow, this is whack, man. Gold is it just broke. It just fell apart. It just, Powell is nominated again and things are certain. There's no more uncertainty in what's going to happen. Known entities here at the Fed. And we're breaking down here. And I have my trend line drawn here. We'll see if we close below my trend line, which is magically at the 61.8%. I didn't plan it this way, guys. It just happened. So these fib numbers are powerful. I don't know why. Self-fulfilling prophecy. We'll see if the support holds. I don't think so. I am bearish here. Let's go over to crude real quick. We're going to talk about crude later. This whole theater going on, we're going to talk about it later. Don says, tell son to save his money and teach him how to trade. What you mean, Don, is tell son to save my money and teach him how to trade. Okay, Alex Long, we already got that one. All right, so let's look at what we're seeing here. Let's start with the MES. We can start with the ES. It doesn't matter. You're going to see the same kind of look on the chart. But since I have the MES in here, I am going to draw a Fibonacci retracement immediately. We're kind of rallying back up now. Fibonacci retracement. I'm going to go high to low, pick, and it's going to span the entire field, right? We're going to span the entire field. I'm going to look for my entries using my fib and my volume profile here. CCI is wickedly turned up here. Still only 25, 23, so it's a little soft, but I'm going to use this 38.2% for an entry unit. I'm going to use the 50% for an entry unit. I want to get a 2 or 3 unit trade. And, I don't know if I'm not going to go all the way down to the point of control, because if we do start trading down at that point of control, I'm going to be a little bit worried about being long. But I will use that, I'm going to be north of this 23 a little bit and throw those in for now, and we'll see what happens. I want to be patient. I just don't want to go market at this point. Let's let it kind of, rest a little bit. So there's only a second green candle, but it's a seriously, the second candle here is a very strong continuation candle. I know we have 4 more minutes until this 10-minute candle ends, but it's pretty strong. So we'll kind of, that's, which is positive, but then again, we might get a little relief here. We still have 3 more minutes before. Okay, so we got 1 unit, which is what we wanted. Now I'm going to put my stop down here right now. I'm going to put it at the lows. I'm just going to put a sell stop in right this second. Yesterday we jumped the gun on our first trade, and maybe we're jumping the gun on the second trade as well. I don't know, but we're going to explore this idea together. And this last unit here is a little wonky where I placed it. I just wanted to get it in here as this market is going quickly. 23.6. A lot of times we do get down there, we don't break it, we touch it. So I'm going to move it, pull it down just a little bit, so we're a little bit above it. And this is not, I'm not looking at a price point with the precision of the idea that, hey, 46.64 3/4 is the magic number. I want to be a little bit above it, and there's a lot of volatility. So if it's within a couple ticks, it's okay in my world, and I want to be patient. I want to wait. Let's see if we can get that second unit, and we have 1 of the units right now, and we'll start thinking about profit targets in a minute. William James says, "This rally seems tired. The market seems like it's running out of stocks to rotate to." Yeah, I don't, maybe. I mean, I hear what you're saying, especially when you're looking at a daily chart. Let's just go to the ES real quick. It's kind of like it's stalled, right? We were just rocking and rolling from the second half of October all the way to the end of the first week, and then kind of ran out of steam a little bit. But still, right now, this is the only game in town, where you're going to get yield unless you're going to go to alternatives, which is, real estate and some wacky stuff. So I think that there's going to still be folks looking for value in the equity market and trying to scale in on these dips. I think it's going to remain strong throughout the end of the year. Again, my opinion, what do I know? But we'll see what happens. It's a long way away to the end of the year. Burton's is, "Hey, I am in here. Thank you. I appreciate you being here." Bert, I'll call you Bert. I love Burton. Oh man, that's a great name. Love it. So let's take a look at the MES. Well, MNQ. While we're at it here, MNQ. Let's see. I don't have anything on here except volume profile is totally scattered right now. This is not helping us. The volume profile on the left-hand side, these histogram bars, they're totally scattered right now. This point of control that we saw at the bottom here, this golden line run down here, that's been there for a while. We've got, we got our second unit in the MES. We'll go back to that in a second. And right now, I'm a little less excitable. I'm a little less excited about going long in the MNQ right now. So we're going to be patient and look. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a fib line in here though right now. Again, high to low. I know I'm going to look at the whole field. This represents 23, this is the whole session from the start last night. And I'm just going to go up to high. I'm going to pull my fib to the right-hand side so I could see it a little bit better. To low, gives me some more areas of interest as we go. And it's one of the problems with the micro NASDAQ is you have these wickedly large candles, which represents a lot of volatility. And the volume profile is kind of scattered, so it's kind of sometimes harder to read. So you got to be careful. So you got to give yourself a lot of room, and you got to give yourself a lot of flexibility when you're entering markets. Let's shoot over the MES, see what that's doing for us. Oops, what the heck? Here we go. Nope, that was the MNQ. My bad, hit the wrong tab. All right, so we're long 2 right now. We got 2 units here. We're trying to get a third. We have our stops way down here. We're going to adjust this as this trade matures, for sure, but not just yet. And you got to be careful with these micros, because sometimes the volatility is a little wicked. So right away, I'm going to look at some areas of interest, not only from the volume profile, but also from the fib line. And we see a little bit of activity up here, a little bit of a node of volume right around 84.50. That's an area of interest for me. CCI is only 15, not really kicking in. But we'll just get 1 unit in right now. We'll just get 1 unit in right now as a profit target. Second unit, we're going to think about, I'm looking at that 61.8% for that second unit right now. And I just want to wait to see one more candle, what one more candle gives us before we do that. And we got a long time before another candle here. Let's see if we can get the third unit. Bert, fire away, man. I hear you, man. How do I set the limits? You mean limit orders, Bert? I mean, I'm trading from the chart. I got the chart trader version. You could either use the trading ladder and just click on the price, or you could just kind of right click and it gives you the sub menu, which gives you the options to, sell limit, market if touched, buy stop market, or buy stop limit. And you can just pick whichever one you want, but you're literally, I use the crosshair so I can get that price exactly right. Yeah, this is a trading ladder Superdome. This is the NinjaTrader Superdome. This is a NASDAQ level 2 peak of volume. And the beauty about equities as opposed to equity futures, rather, as opposed to equities, is that you get to see the entire order flow. You get to see the entire book, right? So if you're trading through an ECN or through a broker that's routing orders somewhere else, you're not going to be able to see that as transparently as you do here at the CME Group futures markets. We'll get that third unit. Got it. All right. So now our average price, wow, this is looking weak. This could be a catastrophe, or I don't know. We'll see if we can get some footing here on the bottom. That's okay. Sometimes, like we said yesterday, sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug. But I like being patient here. We have nothing but time on our hands. Let's see what happens. We got 7 more minutes before the next candle. Now at 10 o'clock, there was some numbers coming out. So we're trading a little blind right now because I didn't have a chance to pull them up, only because they were released at 10 o'clock. So let's just take a look at the ones we know. Take a look at the ones we know. So durable goods orders came out, and the U.S. Census Bureau releases this report, and it didn't really move the market that much. There wasn't. It's new orders were consensus was 0.3, actual was -5, so that was a miss actually. Take out transportation though, and it was right on target, right? And core capital goods right on target. So that was probably a good thing. GDP is usually, the consensus is usually right on the money. So you usually don't get a lot of surprises on GDP. It's so well analyzed and put together that the consensus, look at that, it's 2.1 is exactly at the consensus number. Even though the consensus range was a little wacky, that's a big consensus range, by the way. And then personal consumption expenditures, which everybody was looking at, right? It's 1.7. They're saying that the idea is that people are still buying stuff, and they're buying stuff in anticipation of Christmas, in addition to Christmas presents and stuff like that. So there's cash available to go, look at the M1 money supply. Folks have cash to go ahead and consume. And so that's why this is kind of an important piece of data to look at. The problem is, of course, the shelves are empty in some places and the supply chain's broken in some places. So that's a little bit, that's the other side of the coin. So if you're going to buy me a Christmas present, please, let's get it ordered now. So it gets here by just joking. Don't buy me a Christmas present. Okay, so where are we at here? We're jobless claims. So this is a big one. So we got this red, I highlighted in red, 199,000. The trend is in the right direction. The trend in jobless claims has been in the right direction. And supposedly this is the lowest number since 1969 on jobless claims, which if that's true, that's fascinating. It's all over Twitter today. So it seems to me if you want to work, you could work, right? There's openings. I mean, I just moved from Chicago to Charlotte. There's help wanted signs all the way down the block. Okay, Burton, hang on a sec. You're peppering everybody with questions. Slow your roll a little bit. We'll get to them. So international trade, that was actually a win, right? It's negative. If you're thinking in terms of the U.S. wants to export more than they import, that was a little bit of a win. Corporate profits, 27.6. That didn't move the needle, I don't think. And either did retail wholesale inventories. So let's get rid of that. We did have Fed chair. We had a Fed president Daly. She was talking earlier today about maybe we're going to taper quicker, and I think that had to do with some of the price depreciation we saw here today. Was her comments earlier today, but that was the only Fed parade that I could find. Maybe there's more folks out there. So, all right, Burton, these are all the products, right? Look at my quote board. Forget about COMEX, NYMEX, CBOT, CME for a minute. The CME group has all these asset classes, and then there's sub exchanges, right, that are associated with those asset classes. But from a trading point of view, it doesn't matter, right? We have our quote board up here. We've added the markets we're interested in. We've got stock index futures on the top, the micros underneath it, currency futures underneath that, microcurrencies, energies underneath that, metals underneath that, treasuries underneath that, cryptos, which be patient, and we'll get some volume in cryptos one of these days, and then the grains at the bottom. So the COMEX you just got to pick the market within the COMEX sub-exchange structure, add it to your platform, right, and you'll be able to see the data, right? So you're not looking for COMEX per se, you're looking for COMEX related markets, right? You're like gold, copper, silver, those kind of things. Okay. So here we are. We're right where we entered here on our MES trade, and I felt more comfortable doing it in the micros today because of this volatility and this data dump. And let me just kind of look to see if if I could pull up. Today is what? Today's in November. No, I don't have that data. Sorry, guys. Up on my screen, personal income and outlays. I'm looking for. But we do have new monthly residential sales, October 2021. New houses sold 745,000. New houses for sale 389,000. That trend is still relatively positive here on houses sold, although down from its peak from a couple of weeks ago. We'll see. I mean, things here where I'm at is the housing market is going goofy. That's a technical term. Goofy. Oh man. All right. Let's go back to our trade idea. Right now we're kind of hovering right in the middle there. This point of control I think is going to change, right? So 46.60 I think is going to change. And you can see volume accumulating right where my crosshairs is, right where right in the area here where the market's trading. These histogram guys are getting bigger and bigger. I do think this point of control is going to shift up as the day goes on. But keep in mind it's Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. The U.S. market. Here's the weird thing about Thanksgiving. U.S. markets are closed Thanksgiving. And then on Friday after Thanksgiving, as an example, the futures markets are only open up for a partial day. Most of the institutional entities are taking the day off, the 2 days off. So there's going to be a lot less activity. And there's going to be no activity Thursday. Now, the weird thing about it is the rest of the world doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving. So this is, it's going to be business as usual everywhere else. So this Sunday night, when these futures markets open up, be on your game, because that's when things could kind of gap, right? Because we have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, world's moving forward. U.S. is just, is got a food coma because we ate too much turkey. So that's keep that in mind. Griffin just joined the band. Oh yeah, mouse batteries. That's a bad thing, Griffin. I got to tell you, that's a bad. I'm going to put my second unit profit target in at the 61.8, just below it. Let's get it in there before something happens to us. And these are conservative, super conservative trade entries. I'm just sitting back and waiting, pretty much. And then we'll start thinking about where we put our stop. Do we move our stop to break even at 46.70 or not? If we are fortunate enough to get this one unit of the three that we have going. Yeah, no. So I've been involved in this retail trading thing for a long period of time, decades, right? Decades. And and in talking to traders, I was on the brokerage side for a long period of time as a commodity broker, and talking to traders, we hear all sorts of things, right? I couldn't get out of my trade. It wasn't my fault. The mouse on the keyboard, the battery in the wireless keyboard died, or the battery in the mouse died. I'm plugged in, man. I'm not relying on that Energizer bunny on my trade. So I don't know, be plugged in. Same with if you could, from your internet connection point of view, be plugged in as well. In any event, cat ran across my keyboard. I didn't place that trade. I should write a book about all the things I've heard. It's like the farmer's insurance commercial. If it's happened, we've seen it. We've heard it. We've seen it. What do we do? We got two. We have three units right now. There's in the third profit target. I'm still contemplating, right? Where do we want to place that third profit target right now? And I want to be patient a little bit more. ES is down 15. We have a long day today. There's going to be all sorts of profit taking, all sorts of just odd things that happen at the end of the day today. Keep that in mind. Be really careful going forward here. Terrence says housing in Seattle is also a Disney character. Yeah, it's crazy times in some of these municipalities. I think areas like where I'm at now in Charlotte, I think they were attractive targets to people who didn't want to be in the big city anymore. So we have a lot of folks moving down here, me included. So it's these pockets are just crazy. But in any event, James says I have two mice. Isn't that mouses? No, it would be you have two mouse. Would you say, if you have a mouse to control your computer and you had a second mouse to control your computer, is it different than the animal? I don't know. We're in the weeds right now. All right, Terrence is going with mice. I don't know. Someone's going to Google check that for us. All right, so Griffin's kind of bailing himself out of the jam he got into. He said, well, I have a touchpad on my laptop, but you have to remember about it. Yeah, you have to remember that's something for at my age, all of these innovations, it's just, I still have a keyboard that clicks, click, click, click. Anyway, while we're waiting here, I'm not inclined to do anything at this point in time. I mean, let's see if we can get our first unit in the micro here and then move on. I'm going to take a peek at the, oops. What happened? Oh, that's a daily. How did that get to be a daily? That's horrendous. How did that get to be a daily? Let's see if I could toggle this way. That was my bad. There we go. That was my bad on that particular exercise. Let's get that fib back in here. High to low. Again, it looks like we have a pretty powerful green candle here. A little bit of a doji right before it. We had, this was okay. This is going to be a good one. Let's take a look at these candles here. A lot of times, and again, this is like, let me kind of make this a little bit easier to see. I want you to look at this particular, and as I was blabbing, I didn't see it. We had a downtrend, right, in the micros. These candles were big candle here right after the open, big red candle here. Then we had a doji. This is almost a perfect doji, and the definition of a doji candle is where the open and close prices are the same or nearly the same. It's almost in the middle, perfectly symmetrical. It's positioned down at the bottom of the move. And a lot of times when I see these, I see what's called a turnaround doji, right? And a turnaround doji, when you see it, it's not a guarantee, but a lot of times it does suggest the trend is going to change. And we did see that in this particular case. The next bar, pretty green, continuation, another hesitation, another doji-like, not a perfect doji like this one, but a little bit of a hesitation, and then a continuation candle back up. That's pretty strong right now. So this is looking pretty good, pretty strong right now, temporarily. So you have a couple of options here because I'm not as bullish in this particular market as I am the ES. But by the way, you could adjust your candle width on your keyboard. I just learned this today. This is something I'm always learning. I'm about always learning. I held the Alt key down and use your arrows to up or down it. Anyway, all right, something happened here. I heard order filled. Did you guys hear that? Let's go back to the ES. My guess is our first target did get filled. Okay, so our first target got filled. Now we have a conundrum, right? So we have a couple of options here, and one option that I kind of like is trying to get the second unit, but at the same time, I got to change my stop right to 2 contracts, and I'm going to move it to right above our entry. I'm going to move it right to where our average price is right now. It's 67. Right, so it's kind of I'm moving it down to where our average long position is from, and then I'm going to try to get a second unit, and then let that third unit roll. So, and I want to get a new high here on the second unit. So I'm going to bring this down right above that. Right above here. Let's see if you could, right above this highest contemporary wick I could find. Highest contemporary wick I could find, and then we'll change our stop to 1 contract if we're lucky enough to get up here, and then start moving things up. All right. Whew. James is a professional mouser. Andy's hardwired. Andy from Facebook's hardwired everywhere. Griffin said, Griffin, I thought you were going to tell me the opposite. When the mouse quit, I made more money because I couldn't get involved. When the mouse quit, I made 4 points instead of 8.25. Not a big deal. I thought you were going to say the opposite. Jared says, I do the same thing. I made the mistake of not doing it that way once, and it cost me dearly. So the other strategy here, there is another strategy here instead of doing what I'm doing. And, maybe you're more conservative than me, or maybe you're more aggressive than me, who knows? You could trail your stop, right? You could move it up to the top of the value area. I think that's an attractive place because it corresponds with the 50%. We just kind of drove through it right now. You could move it up to the 38% level, which I'm inclined to think of doing right now. My only worry with doing that is it doesn't quite clear the body of the last candle, right? So we look at 38, line it up. It's right at the bottom there. It's right at the bottom of that candle. So I'm worried about wicks, but this is the ES instead of the NQ. So, maybe that would be kind of a prudent thing to do. So let's do it. I'm going to move it up. We're kind of manually trailing our stop up. I'm going to leave my order up here. If you're conservative, 61.8 is a great place to consider. The value area just shifted up. Did you see that? The value area just shifted up right now, and it is at 76.25. Exciting times. We'll see if we could fight our way up to where my target is. Maybe it's too aggressive, who knows? But we do have a series. When I look at these candles, there's another thing that I think is important that I will share with you. And maybe it's not important, but I think it's important. We have a higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher high, and then not a higher high, but then another higher high. So as long as these higher lows are continuing and the higher highs are continuing, bull mode right now. Not looking to do a counter trend trade until we see a candle that closes with a lower high. And then we could start thinking about, moving things around. Griffin's suggesting move it up below the 20 period moving average. I'm going to add that just so I can show you how to do it. I'm just going to right click. I'm going to go to indicators. I'm going to go to simple moving average, right, Griffin? I'm going to go to simple moving average, double click on it. And what's the number 20? Or are you looking at a daily chart? What are you looking at, Griffin? Help me out here. There it is. Whoops, you know what? I made a mistake. I'm going to right click. I didn't make a mistake, but I want to make, oh no, calculate on each tick. No. Calculate on each tick. There we go. Apply and okay. And there we go. There we go. So if this was your tip, Griffin, I just did it. I just did it. My sell stop's already there, actually. That's how that's how similar some of these indicators and drawing tools kind of align. It's kind of amazing when you have this this thing called Fibonacci, which is just a series of a numerical series that magically meets up with points of control and these kind of thing. I love it. Whoa, Terrence is throwing in a curveball here. Not to split hairs, but the 21 SMA is considered in many circles as the mean. We'll make it a 21 if it makes everybody feel better. I'm feeling good today because it's a day before Thanksgiving. I have the kids around me, which would be good. Good to see son number 1 come back from Indiana. Let's hit apply and okay. And there we have it. It didn't really, well, it actually moved it up a touch so that I'm actually right at my my stop level. Sweet. All right, we'll see what happens here. Griffin's looking at a 1, 3, and 9 minute chart. Looks at 2 moving averages on 3 different time frames. Herbert says yes, because this is a fib number. So we have now a new candle. It's not that new. 1030. Not that much happened on the 1030 candle. I am inclined to think about moving the stop up though, right to that 50% area, right there. 1 tick below it. We got this. We have this market cornered. We're surrounding it right now. And if we get stopped out, that's okay. We had 3 good units, and we could take a deep breath and do the next trade idea. If there is a next trade idea, sometimes there isn't another next trade idea. That's okay. Them are fighting words. Griffin says, nope, it's got to be 20. You put that 21 in there and you're headed for trouble with the capital T. Well, that's the nice thing about doing a multi-target type of trade. It's easier to do in the micros, right? You're going to assume relatively less risk, right? Kind of number one. And number two, it's easy to scale in or scale out. I think, and you could kind of take advantage of the full playing field, right? The full playing field. We have some buyers coming in right now. Let's see if we can get that green candle kicking back in right now. It's 10:35. A lot of time left. Everything is looking pretty good. I'm just glancing over on the scoreboard on the right here. ES is only down 12 now. NQ 67. YM 127. A lot better than it used to look earlier this morning. That's for sure. Currencies, So let's see where the currencies are here. These are currency crosses, right? These are, the Aussie versus the U.S. dollar, British pound sterling versus the U.S. dollar, Canadian versus U.S. dollar. Look at 6E down. That's, I don't know, 52 and a half. Not a huge number. U.S. dollar getting a little stronger. The idea is supposed to be that the U.S. dollar is going to get a little stronger as this interest rate environment starts to change a little bit, supposedly, in theory. Who knows? We'll see what happens with that. All right, so now what do we do? We got to wait for another candle before we make any decisions. But if we do get a green candle here, my next target for my stop is the top of the value area. I'm going to keep pinching it up if we get a green candle. If we don't get a green candle, then we're just hanging tight. Yeah, so Griffin, that's a great comment. I mean, hard to go wrong taking a profit, although sometimes it sure feels wrong after some time goes by. I get that. And that's for sure. And this is a psychological battle, right? That's going on. We're going to talk about that. And actually, we're going to talk about that in an hour and a half. 12 o'clock, we're doing trading psychology. I read my Mark Douglas books, and I have enough information to be dangerous at 12 o'clock. So come to that one if you want to have some fun. And we're going to kind of talk about how you get in the way of yourself. Right, you get in your way in yourself, and patience is, in my particular point of view, based on being in this seat for decades, is patience is the number one trading rule. Right. I mean, all right. Other than making sure you have a stop loss in, patience is the number two trading rule. Right, and you make your game plan up. Thank you, Isabella, for cutting and pasting the link for the psychology event coming on. But man, there's demons in your head, and it is once we start talking about it at 12 o'clock, you'll kind of get where I'm coming from. Me and my brother have these phone calls every day, every morning. I talk to my brother, Chris, and we're talking about, we focus on he likes the mini Dow. We talk about the mini Dow a lot. We got another 2 minutes before this candle does something. And, in a lot of our biases and our psychological profiles come out in that daily phone call I have with him. Griffin is, if I could just see the future, this would be a lot easier. Yeah, it would be. Griffin knew Mark back in the day, great guy. I think I preceded him on the floor of the board of trade. That's how old I am, just so everybody knows. I got it out of the way. I said it. It makes me feel better. Because I was down there probably, I can't remember. Me and my mom argue about this all the time. For sure, I was down there in 1981. But I'm going to argue I was down there as early as 79, 80. Because I think I had a summer job in high school. And I know that Mark kind of showed up around then, maybe a little later. All right, what do we got? We got another minute here. Remember, this bar turns green on the close. We're moving our stop up. If it doesn't, we're not moving our stop up. And again, this is just me trying to be trying to be a little bit of scientific anyway on how we go about this. Wow, this is a lot of buyers coming in, man. We cannot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 higher lows, continuation candles galore. Caesar's referencing a Nicolas Cage movie. Well, that's the first time. We've been doing these live training things for a couple of years now, and that's the first time anyone has referenced a Nicolas Cage movie. Congratulations, you're a groundbreaker. Uh-oh, red candle here. Wow. Oh, no, we closed green. All right, let's do it. This candle here is closed. It's green. Let's move our stop up to the top of the value area. And then again, we're kind of surrounding this thing, right? Now we can even see it on the trading ladder. Limit order up here, stop here, prices in the middle here on the trading ladder. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We're smack dab in the middle right now. Yeah, trading in the zone for sure. A couple. He has a couple of good ones for sure. I'm kind of stuck in. I'm reading this book by this fellow by the name of Geiger about the Federal Reserve Board, how it works, what happened when Paul Volcker took over in 79, 80. In the end of the Jimmy Carter era. And it's, when I say stuck, it's 1,000 pages long. But it's fascinating. It's very, very good. I think 30, 40 pages a day is enough. It's going to take me probably until January to finish it, and we'll move on to the next one. I was on the board of trade. I was on Griffin. I was on the U.S. Treasury bond pit, 30-year U.S. Treasury bond pit, long end of the yield curve. There was not an ultra bond back then. The U.S. Treasury bond pit was the Mac Daddy of trading pits in 1981, 82, 83. And then the S&P came and kind of took over that title as you got into the 80s. But S&P was over in the CME. CBOT had the Treasury bonds, and it was popular. Rick Santelli was floating around the floor back then. And maybe he got there a little bit later than me, now that I think about it. My wife worked for Rick Santelli back in the, I don't know, I'm going to say, it was probably the 90s. Probably not. She's younger than me, thank goodness. Yeah, I didn't know Charlie Andrews Griffin. Did not know him. Kind of in the middle now. Things are slowing down. Are we going to get another doji? Are we going to get continuation back up? ES is still down 8 or 9, 9 handles on the day. So one of the things I like to envision is, when you see this big drive up like this, and this could help you with the psychology part of it. You see a big trend up like this, and you're thinking it can't go up any higher. Well, it could, for starters. But secondly, you just look at the net change on the day. We're down 9. I could envision an update today in the ES, which means, yeah, we can go higher, right? So little kind of visual tricks and mental tricks like that could help you with your patience, could help you with your control. Again, green bar, we get another green bar. We're moving up to the 61.8% level on our stop. If we don't get another green bar, we're going to just hang tight. We're using our green bar strategy. I'm going to trademark this. CAG's green bar strategy today. Rick said the points in my. This is from my my position now. Right. So this changed, right? Remember, because we took one off the table. So my average position changed, and that's what that reflects. So this 11 points, 10, 75, 11 points is reflected on where my 2 lots long from, not from all 3, including the close trade. And when I click on it, I could change it to ticks. I could change it to dollars. Oops. All right. So we're stopped out. I'm going to go ahead and cancel. First thing I'm doing is canceling the limit order. And I'm going to take a breath. I want to reflect a little bit. I want to talk about it. So we have a situation here where we have the point of control now. Competing point of control is up around 76. We're getting a pullback again. Would I go long again? Yeah, I would. But again, I have the luxury now of being more patient. I have the luxury of looking at that magical 21 simple moving average, period moving average at 38.2, the 23.6. I could kind of be like, all right, I'm going to wait. We're going to be cool. Now, the other thing to think about is, do we want to do a counter trend trade right now? I mean, this was a pretty big price depreciation, back-to-back days, as a matter of fact. And I'm thinking, maybe not. I'm going to stick to my bias right now, which is bullish in this particular one. Herbert, let's see. Herbert says, do your paperwork. It will keep you from over trading. Well, that's a good point, right? That's a good point. Griffin makes a great point. This is a common mistake, right? Now I feel great We had a winner, you know, and I'm just kind of walking through it, how folks, I've talked to other traders in this similar situation, right? We had 3 winners today. You know, I feel really good. I can see the market more clearly than anybody else in the world right now. I'm on fire. I'm invincible. And I'm going to put another trade. And sure enough, next one's a loser. And then that's okay. I'm going to do it again. Next one's a loser. Now we're losing money. And now we're like, oh man, I got to make it back up. And you just dig yourself a hole. So that's a good point. Knowing when to walk away, when to take a breath, when to dive back in. I am not a fan of always be in the market. There are some folks that are. Griffin says I think he's still referring to Mark, gave me my first trading advice. If you lose $1 million and don't have it, they can't get it from you. Yeah. Well, back in those days, the leverage situation was totally whack for the locals on the floor. And that's a whole nother webinar. I'm not going to get into it right now. But so, you know, the other strategy, Herbert, too, is to say, I still feel the same way about the market, about the data today, about the fact that we're going into a holiday now, and folks might want to be taking profits off the table or establishing longer term positions. We've had a few days of sideways markets or even downward markets in the equity markets. I get that, but the other convenience factor, point of control just shifted up right now. Did you see that? We can go down to 23.6 and say, you know what, I'm going to really wait. I'm going to really be conservative, and I'm just going to wait. You know, and my stop will be, you know, a new lows, you know, or if you really want to be patient, hey, I'm going to wait to see if these wicks down here get attacked, which they often do. These low wicks sometimes get attacked, and we see bounces back up, and then that's going to be my trade. And if it never happens, it never happens. That's okay. I got Bloomberg on the TV behind me, and that's good. Jerry, great question. Do you use market internals to help confirm entries like tick, trend, advanced declines? No, I don't. I just like to look at the candles, fib. My setup is what I have here. This is all I look at. But I get the question, and it's a good one. Tick and trend and advanced declines are market New York Stock Exchange market internals, they called. For folks who don't know what that is, and it could kind of give you more information about pretty much the velocity of the market, in my opinion, and you know what the probability of a continued acceleration or deceleration is as you approach high ends of the band. It's just not my thing. I don't want to discourage anybody from trying tick, trend, or advanced declines or any of the other market internals. Especially, you know, if you're just trading the MES or the ES, for sure. So, in event. Thanks for that comment. Okay, so Herbert says, done for the day, made $500 for the day, and I will take grandbaby. Oh, you got a grandbaby. Congratulations, Herbert. Glad to hear it. It's a lunch. I think that's a very solid game plan. I'm all for that kind of game plan. And that's a good attitude. You know, it's a good attitude because really a lot of traders that I've talked to over the years think the opposite. They think, you know what, if I could make 500, I should be able to make 1,000 today. I'm going to keep going. Right? That kind of thinking is going to get you in trouble, I think, more times than not. Ken says, if you could make $1,000, you could take 500 babies to launch. That's funny. Well, with $500, he could take me and the baby out to launch, and that's for sure. Plenty for us 3, I think. All right, we're going to wrap it up here soon. Where are we at? I'm going to wait for another candle here. Let's think about this. Let's kind of squeeze over to the micro NASI here and see what kind of. Yeah, I'm more negative in this particular peekaboo. You know, we came up to the 61% and we slowed down. On the MES, same thing. Came up to the 61% and slowed down, but it looks like we're driving back up. On the MNQ, This is actually more of a dangerous market. It's got 600,000 traded already, so I'm going to take it back. We're going to get a million contracts traded today, I think. I really do, and it's looking pretty strong right now. But from a trade idea point of view, I would definitely wait to see a lower low on this particular, right where my crosshairs is, the previous close candle, not the contemporary one, but the previous close candle. I would like to see a lower low before I entered, for sure. That particular market. We're starting to develop a little bit of an area of support here, but it's only been one candle worth, so we can't really say for sure. Although the trend of higher lows has stopped. Cease and desist. Just draw a candle. We'll see if this could hold tight here. We'll see. So what I'm doing here, I'm trying to develop an area of a short-term area of what I'm going to call support. And my rectangle, the top of my rectangle is going to be at the bottom of the lowest closed candle, right? So we'd like to see this green candle close as a green candle. And that'll help us verify that this is going to be an area of support as more candles become develop. Rick, market internals, they're just, how many, as an example, New York Stock Exchange, you could track, market internals, and what this is, how many stocks are trading on an uptick, how many stocks are going up, how many stocks are going down, and the difference gives you a number. More positive that number, the more bullish the move. And it kind of does it in real time, real fast. So literally, that's just one example of one of the market internals. And if you just Google tick and trend, it'll develop tick and trend internals. You could read the actual definitions of them. And now Jerry's going to be way smarter at that than me, way better at that than me, because it sounds like Jerry uses those. But Burton, yes, MNQ, micro, E-mini, NASDAQ. You got it, man. You got it. That's what we're looking at right this very second. So my rectangle is holding out. The 50% retracement is holding on. We'll see what happens as we kind of creep back up here. The idea here is, hey, if we could, at 50% might be a good area to enter. If we get another candle or so, that's demonstrating that this, sure enough, is an area of support. Griffin says, the trouble with any rules like that is some days the market doesn't give you 2 good trades. Then the next day you have 8 great setups. Kind of like, I want to make X amount a day. Yeah, I don't like that either. I don't like the idea of setting a dollar. Sorry, setting a daily dollar goal. I think that's a mistake. Rick, yeah, so exactly. It's like advanced decline. You got it. I don't like setting a dollar target, because now you're forced to try to make your target instead of looking at the structure of the market, looking at the candles, and making a decision, some sort of scientific decision on what your strategy is going to be, and then implement that strategy. Burton, this is a stock index future. This is the NASDAQ 100 stock index future. Think of QQQs on the ETF side. This is the futures version of that. Go over to MES. So we're kind of stuck here in the middle. All right, so we're gonna wait a couple more minutes here, but I'm gonna wrap this up. And I do want to remind everybody, trading futures options on futures involves substantial risk of loss, not suitable for all traders and investors. Oftentimes in futures trading, you have a high combination of leverage and volatility, although that could be an equation for opportunity, also equation for risk. So be careful. Easy on the day trade margins, risk capital only. Manuel asks, how many transactions could I do in a day? Aha, that's a great question, Manuel. As many as you want. You could trade like as if you were a pattern day trader without the $25,000 minimum, right? So in futures trading, as long as you maintain your margin requirements. Right now, I'm using $50 of my day trade margin for this limit order right here. I have plenty of excess in my sim account. Remember, we're in a real-time sim account, everybody. with a real-time data feed. This is a NinjaTrader platform. Just want to remind everybody of that. So it's up to you. I mean, don't do too many at the risk of angering all the brokers in the world. Don't do too many. Just you wait, exactly what Griffin said. Wait for your trade setup. Griffin, thanks for coming. Have a great lunch. Have a great Thanksgiving. TS Long says, is the merger with NinjaTrader completed with Infinity? Yes. Yes, it is. So NinjaTrader, their NinjaTrader clearing is a new thing now, and everything's under that umbrella. Terrence, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Same to everybody. Have a great Thanksgiving. If I don't see you at 12 o'clock, that's okay. Take the rest of the day off, which is cool. Have a great Thanksgiving, great holiday. And I do want to remind everybody, please be safe out there and be good to each other. Take care, everybody.